Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this online Reiki gathering with Kathryn Hewitt as our guest speaker. We hope you enjoy the conversation.
This is a real honour. It's such a privilege for me to have this opportunity to just share a wee bit about my story and how Reiki has totally transformed my life. And everything, even to today, right now, even that was a number of years ago that I learned. So
for the start, you can tell us a few words about yourself and how exactly your Reiki journey has started.
Thank you. I learned 23 years ago, my health deteriorated. I was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus, which is an autoimmune disease. So I went down the conventional medicine way, which was fine because my blood pressure was very high and needed BP medication and warfarin. My blood was clotting. So I was, for the first time, I was always open to complementary methods, alternative, but I found a Reiki practitioner and I thought maybe Reiki can assist me with my health. And so I found a practitioner, master teacher, Robin Rogers. So this is in New Zealand, 23 years ago. Instead of having a Reiki treatment, I sailed straight in and learned Reiki 1 and then Reiki 2. So I could practice on myself. And after, a short time, I'm talking maybe a couple of months, I started to see a massive improvement in my energy levels. And it has served me amazingly. It just changed me so much, my health. So I was able to participate in the community. I had a wee toddler, 4-year-old at the same time, that I learnt Reiki. So Caden, who's now 27, he's been attuned to the Reiki and uses it without my prompting. I mean, I forgot that I'd attuned him because it was such a long time ago, but he never forgot and he still uses it. So the Reiki, as well as turning my health around, when I was pregnant with our second child, and it is sort of known among the medical circles, or generally speaking, if you've got an autoimmune disease, your baby's most likely to be small or have complications. I had complications because my BP went up again, so I was in hospital. But look, going back a step, right throughout my pregnancy, I Reiki'd my baby. My baby received the Reiki as well as me. And the doctors, the pediatrician, the specialists were amazed at how this baby just grew perfectly. She was just perfect. When she was born, I ended up having a C-section because they panicked. They wanted to keep me good and baby good. There was no need for that. I was able to deliver her naturally, but that's beside the point. The fact is really that once she was delivered, she was pronounced perfectly the best baby on the ward health-wise, which was a big feat for a mum who's, got an autoimmune disease. And my recovery from the C-section was so rapid. I just self-Reiki'd.
It's amazing. It's amazing what Reiki, in what ways Reiki can help us. I believe that Reiki help you as well to set up your own business and to overcome some obstacles on that way. So how do you decide? How have you decided to start with your business venture?
Well,
and tell us about more. Yeah, tell us about your business. So a few words. Yeah.
I always wanted to have my own wellness centre, especially once I became, trained in Reiki and started treating friends and assisting them with Reiki. And of course, I was raising young children at that stage. I now, here in Australia, so my clinic, it was always a vision in my mind. Now it looks different and it's in a different country, but I never let go of that vision, having my own wellness centre. So it's called Inner Space Wellbeing is the name of my business. And I have challenges because I'm low vision. So I'm not totally blind, but there are challenges with treating people with all sorts of different modalities that I integrate into my clinic. So what do I use? I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. So when I was doing my training, I had everything available electronically. I'd rock up with my laptop and be following the lesson with an electronic version of where the others had the books. So I educated the teachers about the needs of a low vision. So I've overcome amazing obstacles just to, so I can fully engage with my clients. I'm also a hypnobirthing practitioner, certified hypnobirthing international practitioner. I'm just getting that up off the ground now. I have assisted families delivering a nice, natural, gentle birth. So yet again, just using my laptop. And Reiki, Reiki is quite popular in the clinic. A lot of my clients come for hypnotherapy. I've got to run programs for anxiety and depression. And at the end of the program, I introduce people to Reiki by offering them a full body Reiki at the same price, at a reduced price as instead of if they just come as a one-off Reiki. So I've weaved it in there very nicely, and a lot of people have said to me they've never experienced Reiki. They've heard a lot about it. They're reporting that they're sleeping better, they're less anxious, you name it. They've sort of getting the results, which is amazing. So, yeah.
So basically, your three modalities, they wow in perfectly, I would say. They integrate perfectly, and you can achieve the best results for your clients. So what was the one thing you wish you had known before you started your business?
One thing before I started my business, I was very gentle with myself. I took my time. I think perhaps more experience with marketing. I'm a healer. I'm not, I'm still navigating my way around the social media side of trying to get your business out there and that. But I'm fortunate. I've got a daughter who's sort of put her hand up and said, well, I can assist you, So yes. All my gear talks to me. My phone gives me audio feedback. So I'm able to do most things, but there are challenging moments. So I think perhaps if I could have brushed up further, it would have been on the marketing skills, because I've got the know-how to navigate. There's a few little but there's always somebody on hand where with a little bit of patience I can work it out. I'm involved in a community that's very supportive for blind and low vision people. So, we ask questions, and a lot of people on there own their own business, doing many different things. So we can always put the question to the group and get an answer.
Yep. Fantastic. So what would be like some of the experience that, left that you are most proud of in your work? Special event from your work?
Oh, right. There are so
many.
I had a lady who wanted to come and see me, but she called me from her bed. She was curled up in her bed, suffering from major social anxiety. She just couldn't get out the door. She was crying on the phone. And I was assessing as she was crying and trying to explain it. It was very hard to hear her, but she was saying, oh, my number, I've been giving you a number. I hear that you're wonderful at what you do in your clinic, and I think I should come and see you. So I was trying to ask her, like, are you okay? Because she was crying. I'm sort of trying to analyze and think, am I the right person for her? So we made the appointment, and she got not far from where we live, because my clinic is in my house here. There was a bridge from one suburb to the other. She got to the bridge and she had such major anxiety that she turned around and went home. And there was no message. She didn't turn up. I thought she's a no-show. So I rang her thinking or asking, you know, are you okay? You know, is everything okay? And she explained she just couldn't come through with it. She was too afraid. I think she was afraid of being judged. So I said to her, look, she didn't say those words, but I kind of tuned in and realized what was going on. Very low confidence. So I said to her, look, I said, you know, come in and I'll make you a cup of tea and I'll explain what we're going to go through, what the options are. And I explained how I was low vision and have a disability. So as soon as I said that, she just relaxed and she said, I could sort of hear the sigh of breath. So she said, okay, I'll come. So she came the next day, and it took a number of sessions, but I got her to the point, or actually I only facilitate. I didn't get her. So I'll take a correction there. I facilitated her own inner guidance, her own inner wisdom. With this particular person, she was able to get back to her church. That was very important to her. She was able to go, if somebody invited her, to attend, you know, a meal or something like that. And it was the anxiety. She overcame the anxiety.
You actually help her to ignite the healing within, you know, and I truly believe that role of our healers is to hold the space and to support our clients on their journey and to ignite that healing within, because that's where healing comes from. It's coming from us. So it's amazing when you come from that perspective, how good results actually. And then I think that we can get like a long-term results with our clients when we come from that perspective, that we are holding, supporting, and igniting the healing for the healer within our clients. That's amazing, you know.
Yes.
But there's another question I wanted to ask you. Can you remember any event or situation within your business, maybe, that you actually haven't expected, something that you haven't expected to come out from your work?
I have one with my own personal experience. That if I was diagnosed when my daughter was 18 months, I had a growth on the valve of my heart and was facing the possibility of open heart surgery. And I remember going home that day and thinking, you know, that was really frightening. You know, I was a young mum and I didn't want to have open heart surgery. So every day, religiously, I gave myself Reiki, you know, focusing on the heart emotionally and the physicality aspect of it as well. So I gave myself basically, you know, a real good dose of Reiki regularly. So 4 months later, they wanted to have another heart scan to see if the growth, you know, if it was, they were expecting it to be bigger. And I didn't know because I'd never done anything like that before. It was interfering with the blood flow. According to their machine, you know, it was affecting my circulation quite predominantly. So it was a big ask, but I just put up to the universe and said, right, we've got this, we can do this. I just was so amazed 4 months later when I went back and that growth had gone and was just minimized right down. And they said, we've never seen anything like that in such a short space of time. And, you know, I do see that with people in my clinic here, my wellness centre. I do, but, you know, it tends to be a little bit over a longer period of time and not as quite a dramatic physical sort of condition. You know, when they come and they're nervous and anxious and they get up on because they love the Reiki, you know, the full body is very popular. They just go away feeling like so uplifted and less anxious or more peaceful and centered and energetic and motivated. It's just such a pleasure to be able to facilitate this.
Yeah. And to help people. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And that's why, you know, I'm really passionate about it. And that's why I joined Reiki Australia, to spread even wider the word about Reiki, you know, because I know how and you know we all know, not only me, we all know who we are here today. We know how helpful can be Reiki, even in the good times, when the times are good, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing what we can do with it. So what would you like if there are people now who are listening to us here on the meeting or after listening to recording? What would be your advice for them if somebody wants to start their own business or it's on the beginning of starting their own business? Maybe just thinking of what would be your advice to them?
Well, I think, you know, fear can play a large part in taking that step forward to start your own business. I'm a sole operator. I'm just small but very effective. And it's just finding the confidence to just step outside your comfort zone. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, there's the logistics. You need to have an ABN. You've got to find a business name and you've got to get it registered. They were the first things that I did. Because I'd wanted my own wellness centre for such a long time, it was, for me, the step was very easy. I knew my skill and I knew what I could bring to the clinic. And so that part was easy. I didn't lack confidence. I wasn't afraid. But I know some people are, because to get out there. But it's just trusting and going into your heart and saying, you know, get out of the mind, go into your heart and just, okay, yeah, there are, you know, mechanical things that you need to do. Get a little bit of training in marketing if you want to go bigger, or you can just sort of know your way around social media. You know, Instagram and Facebook is very much the thing for people. Instagram more for younger people, but just getting a handle on those. Zoom is, I haven't offered healing by Zoom, distance. You know, I'm wanting to be doing talks for hypnobirthing on Zoom. I've now, you know, got my way around the iPad, which is good. So there was a lot of stuff to just make sure that you're going to have everything flowing nice and easily. But, you know, I just still want to say, go back to the heart. And what is the heart saying? If you really want to have your own business, then go for it, because that's the right thing. They do say the hardest thing to do is the right thing. I see a lot of fear. I mean, a lot of people that want to do this, want to do that. They'd like to start their own business. So I have a lot of clients come in my door, and you know, it's all fear. A lot of fear of the unknown. Am I going to succeed? Visualize yourself succeeding. You know, talk to the universe. Send me the clients. They will come. You know, that's how I work.
It's that trust and guidance we should, you know, always trust to, you know, come into our hearts and, you know, work from there. And, you know, and once you, as you said, once you work from your heart, you know, everything comes into its place. When you get into the flow, everything comes into its place. You know, you just have to open up to that, you know, and trust. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. So I have a few more questions for you. So one is, if you could go back now at the time when you were 18, with this mind, what advice would you give to yourself?
18, I was just starting to become aware of the universal life force that was around. I was reading Louise Hay books, you know, it was just opening up that door. And you know, we often say, oh, if I could go back, the things that I would change. And it comes back again to know thyself and trust. You know, 18, 19, into the 20s, you're still finding yourself. And if I knew at 18 that I was going to be living in Australia running my own business, I would have probably thought, really? You know, that just sounds so, you know, such a big feat. But yeah, you know, just going back to trust. I've always allowed my heart space to run everything. I try not to make decisions from my head unless it's a, sort of a mechanical type decision, but coming from the heart space, which direction to do, which way to go. Will I do this? Will I do that? Will I use those words? Will I use that word? I always come from the heart space. And at 18, I didn't have that maturity or wisdom. I was just starting to embark on it.
Yeah.
I'm very much a heart space person. I'm very strongly living in my heart space.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I think that, and this is very, our Reiki comes from as well, from our heart and and through our hands into out to the world. So it's so beautiful, to open up that heart space even more. It's so beautiful, Kathryn. Yeah.
Could I say here, sorry, Maja, a lot of people, there's a lot of cynical people out there, you're low vision, you can't do this, you can't do that. They put limitations on you. And, I've advocated for the disability sector for a number of years. I've moved away from that now, but, inclusion and just, trusting and knowing, despite what some people say, that's a barrier in itself. There's other people's attitudes. There was support for me to open my business, but it's like there were so many questions. How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? I had it all sorted. Yeah. So just know thyself. Go back, know thyself. Yeah.
Know thyself. That's the message. That's the message. That's the message of this gathering. Know thyself. There you go. Beautiful. If there was a question that I didn't ask that we haven't discussed yet, what would that question, what would you like to answer and tell to our listeners today?
I mean, when I first learned Reiki, I went crazy and I loved every minute of it. I Reiki'd my mum's plants at the front door. She had them in pots and she didn't know. I didn't tell her. And she was like, gosh, those pansies are doing really well this year. And I think she knew I'd learned Reiki. And, there were so many funny stories like that. If I knew my brother was lying to me or suspected he lied, I'd use the symbol on his forehead. I just zipped it out because, just to try things out and see in those early days. And that truth come out, the heart symbol and things like that. So I would only ever work for the God. I would never use or do anything without people's permission. But we've got this lovely modality, but remember, nature is a frequency and has its own vibration. All my plants get Reiki'd, we've got indoor plants. They're very happy. And before we plant anything new, go and a few minutes of Reiki. They love it. And our whole house has been Reiki'd. I've got an invisible marker. So whenever we go and stay anywhere, I've got an invisible marker and I just put a small Reiki symbol. Nobody can see it, and in every room, and you can feel the whole change of energy. It's very it's almost tangible. So don't just limit it to assisting with people, and that's wonderful. And this is why we're here in this life cycle. But there's so many other applications where we can apply Reiki.
I just wanted to say thank you for a reminder about plants, because I don't do it and I'm really bad with planting, and I'm not good in planting plants, and so I have this, plants who don't need a lot of care, but now I'm gonna take your advice and put a little bit more attention and Reiki to them as well. So thank you for that. But there's a question just came up. I'll take this one because we are running out of the time. So the question is, what do you say to clients who say that Reiki has not helped you with your low vision? Or why has Reiki not helped with physical healing? Do you believe that all physical healing can be healed?
Oh, that's a hard one. Yeah. That is a very, very difficult one. And look, I haven't actually fully applied Reiki to my eyesight because I don't feel the need to do it. I use other senses. And look, I'm grateful I've got some sight. I'm not totally blind, but that's the point is, I love using other senses. My intuition has grown so much, and that's what I use, and it has never let me wrong. Sometimes if we see, we've got very good eyesight, sometimes we can pick up on other things that aren't for our highest good. Now, that's not always the case, but for me and my soul journey, I believe that was. I don't need to have good eyesight or full eyesight to be fulfilling my purpose here. And I knew that, you know, what would it gain? Like, really? And then going back to the other question, yes, I believe if it is meant to be, I believe Reiki can do anything. I don't think there is any limitations. There's no ceiling on this. But sometimes things happen for a reason where healing may not be quite the level that we're wanting, because our soul has to go through a growth through having that experience. No matter what the ailment is, it is a soul evolution thing. So, you know, having it instantly healed, is the soul going to learn what it needs to learn? No, probably not. Or maybe there's a blockage in the body that needs to be cleared, so then full healing can happen. So yes, anything's possible, but are we prepared to put in the work to do what it takes? That's up to each individual.
Yep. Beautiful answer. You got the right, and you answered these questions, hard question really well. Yeah, that's, you know, it is. Anything is possible. It's just how much we are prepared to put into it, you know, and you know as well, what is our soul journey? What is our soul need to go through this life as well? I truly believe that so as well. But the last question for you is that if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would that be?
One meal. Oh,
yes.
I like so many things. That's how, you know, I would go a vegetarian meal. I love vegetarian meals, and I'm not a huge meat eater. So I would say like a vegetarian lasagna or something like that. They're so tasty, and vegetables have such a beautiful vibration. You know, if we put our hands over and Reiki our food before it goes into our digestive system, our body's going to absorb that fully, and it's light, nutritious, it's filling. So yeah, I'd say vegetarian lasagna would be my pick there.
That's fantastic. Are you going to make that for lunch today?
Well, we might look at it for tea tonight. Busy day.
Fantastic, fantastic. Brenda, would you like to add something, ask something? Is there anything else you would like to add to this?
I think I'll be catching up on the recording, I'm afraid. Look, it's been, from what I was catching along the way, it's lovely, really, really a lovely conversation. Thank you so much, Kathryn. I think we can all gain so much from the insight from your experiences, living in such a different experience, I guess, with Reiki and with your work, etc. So I'm very, very grateful. We did have some technical issues in the background. I was like a duck on the top trying to be okay, but underneath I was going crazy. Thank you everyone for enduring that, and Maja especially for going on with that so beautifully while I was so deeply distracted in technology then.
And thank you, Brenda, for you and Natasha as well, to backing up us and to sorting out these technical issues. I just want to add now at the end of this formal part that if you have any questions or suggestions for future meetings, please let us know. Send us email to Brenda or me, and then we'll work it out. And if you have any further questions for Kathryn, I'm sure she's going to be more than happy to answer them. And yeah, of course. And by saying that, we are moving into the last part of our meeting today.